We think it's that time of the show, people, where we do introducing section, where I bring a band on, have a chat with them, find out a bit about them, what they're all about, and this week we've got. How you doing, man?
Hi, mate. How are you?
I'm fine. Introduce yourself.
I'm Craig from the 355's.
Yeah, we played your track earlier on. In fact, we played it last week and we played it the week before.
Which one? Sometimes the new one, yeah.
The new one, mate. And I look at that track sometimes and go, it's over 5 minutes long. I'm not going to play it all, and end up playing it all.
Yeah, it's difficult. A bunch of our tracks are that way. We like these big anthemic choruses, and they work best when you build up to them, you know. But they're not particularly radio friendly. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
You sort of get lost in it. It's a track. Obviously, you can talk about. I've explained last week what it was about, but it's one of those tracks you can get lost in. You just sort of flow along with it. You know, a bit like this is just coming in my head, like being on the Lilo, go floating down the river. You just sort of go with it. It's good. You know, I like it, man.
That's a good vibe. That's a good vibe.
Really
Yeah.
Like it because tonight I was like, I'm not playing it all, and then I was like, oh, it's ended. It's played it all. So
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Tell everybody what the track's about, because it's quite an important subject.
Yeah, so sometimes it was our last EP. It was the sort of lead track. About 18 months ago, Bert, who is our bass player, he is our sort of primary sort of lyric writer, I suppose, which is unusual for a bass player, I know. But yeah, he writes some great stuff. So he sent that to Adam, who's also in the band, and it happened very quickly. Adam, I think within the one evening, he'd written it. And as soon as we all got together as a band and played it together, we knew that it was something. It was quite moving. The words, you know, I think they mean certainly a lot to us, and I know to a lot of other people as well. And it was quite moving. So when we got into the studio to do it, we thought, well, let's get an orchestra in as well. So we had a real orchestra. We recorded at I can't remember if this was Rockfield or Nick's other studio. So with Nick Brine, who did the Oasis stuff, Stone Roses stuff, Ash, all the stuff that we love growing up. So it's, you know, a pleasure to work with him on the track. Yeah. And I think, yeah, you're right. It sort of swells, and it really swells up. So we thought, well, there's a big meaning behind this song. And if you've heard those lyrics, you'll know that. So we thought, well, this I think this needs a bit more than just a standard release. So we worked with the 856 Foundation, who are a men's mental health charity in Kings Lynn, where three of our band members are from, actually. And they do a lot of work, particularly with sort of sport around men's mental health, getting people out playing sport, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we believe that music can also sort of, you know, soothe people and sort of help people when they're going through stuff. So we reached out to them and said, look, let's put this out, and we have all the proceeds from the sales will go directly to your charity. And it really worked well for both of us. So they had a lot of extra eyes on the charity and what they were doing. And it brought new fans to us as well. So, yeah, it was all good. All good.
Yeah, brilliant. No, it's a very important thing, men's mental health, because, you know, it's one of the biggest causes of death between something like 20 and 45. It's ridiculous. It's coming up on my feed from 2018, the 22 push-up challenge, so 22 days doing 22 push-ups. So I did all that, and it's sad when you think 22 people take their lives every day. It's just
every day. I mean, I think it's something that everybody can sort of relate to. Whether you're going through something yourself or you know who somebody is going through something, you know. And the whole premise of the song is, you know, better late than never. It's better to talk.
Yeah.
And I think it's really sort of touched some people. It actually got to number 7 in the UK charts.
Nice.
Which was huge for us. But yeah, it's got that message out there that it's good to talk, and there are people out there that can help if you're going through something difficult. Because Ben, in particular, you know, we don't like to talk. We like to bury our problems. So
yeah, exactly. That's half the problem, isn't it? You know, what do we say? Someone asks you, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." Well, you know,
exactly.
I'm fine because you know
people do.
You sort of get taught. You know, someone said to me once, and I think it's a brilliant saying. He says, "The trouble is," he says. 50% of people don't give a shit what you're going through, and the other 50% are just glad it's not them, so you don't tell anyone.
Quite true. But I think that ship is slowly turning around, and men are opening up a lot more, I think.
Yeah. Janice has said she drops these little sprinkles. You know what I mean? These little nuggets. She says there's a backstory behind the band, so I've no idea what that means. She's not even told me. She just leaves me these little things for me to ask.
Right.
So what's the
Yeah, well, yeah, there is. So we're not like a normal band, I suppose, because I live in France. Um,
Oh, bonjour. That's all I can do.
two, yeah, two of the guys live in Kings Lane, another work and lives in London. So we did things very differently. So the way we got together, it's quite a story actually. So Rockfield Studios, the world famous Rockfield Studios, they were having an Oasis event. And they needed a band to come and basically be in the studio where Oasis were, use the same equipment and record. So people could come in and they could see what happened when it was recording and they could play with the faders and all that kind of thing. So I know Nick Brine, who was the engineer on those two important Oasis albums,
Yeah.
What's the Story and Be Here Now. And he said, look, do you want to be in this band? And do you know anybody who could be in the band with you just for this one event? So I looked to see who was going to the event, and Adam had a guitar in his profile picture. And I was like, right, okay, let's contact him. I did, and it turned out he's a huge Oasis fan. And he was like, okay, he's in. His best mate, Bert, he played bass. Okay, you're in. And we had a local lad on drums. So we were like, okay, so we went, and we were Oasis for the day. We were living the dream, we're using the same equipment, stood in the same spot, using the same microphones, as big Oasis fans, it was a big thing. And to top it all off, Tony McCarroll arrived, who was Oasis' first drummer on Definitely Maybe and into some of the What's the Story stuff. And so the very first time we played together, we had Tony McCarroll on drums. So we're all in the studio standing around where we should be, ready to go. Tony walks in and he starts playing Live Forever, that iconic beat of Live Forever. And we're just like, wow. This is the start of a band, No, it got worse actually. So that amazing intro that Tony plays, and you can tell it's him. He's got this feel all about that nobody else can do really. He starts playing, and we come in with a big G chord, all of us together. Clang! I was out of tune, badly out of tune. Now you can't tell Tony to stop, and we'll redo this, So I had to just carry on. So there's videos of me in the studio with Tony McCarroll doing Live Forever. Everything is so out of tune. It was terrible, but. We were living the dream. We were like completely living the dream. And so we finished that event. We got home and I thought, well, I write songs. I've got a small studio at home. I know Adam does as well. So I contacted him again. I said, well, look, should we give this a go? We all write. Bert is a great lyricist. I write songs. Adam writes songs. We all write stuff. Why can't we do this? Okay, we live in different countries. We've all got studios. We can record stuff and send demos back and forth to each other. So we did over the next couple of months, and it was like the floodgates opened. We'd all been in bands back when we were teenagers, and we hadn't done anything for years. And the floodgates opened. We've got a Dropbox folder with probably about 60 songs in now. And so what is mad is that we went to Rockfield to record our first EP, which was Jig A Jig Out. That one got to number 12 in the charts as well for a first EP. The day it got to in the charts, we got together. We had our first gig the next day.
Wow.
So what's really weird is most bands, obviously, they gig and gig and gig, get to a point they record. We did the complete opposite. We'd recorded a bunch of songs, never gigged, and then we went on and did our first gig. And since then, it's been sort of up and up. We've been lucky enough to support Ocean Colour Scene and Ash and Huey Morgan at the O2 and all these things. So it's a bit like a dream. When we were 16, 17, it's the stuff that we wanted to be doing because we're all huge Britpop fans and we were that sort of age at the time. And it's just taken us 25 years to do it. 25 years later, we're doing it and we're completely living the dream. It's amazing.
That is absolutely wonderful. And just to imagine, I'm a big Oasis. I know not the bit my man is some people I know on here are not Oasis fans at all, but you can't know what they've achieved from where they've come from and what they've done. They're still at it now. And but that must have been absolutely amazing. And it just shows you that you never know what happens from doing things, do you?
Exactly. Right place, right time, meeting the right people. It was all complete and utter fate, sorry. And we're all good mates now. We're gigging, I mean, we've done 3 or 4 gigs over the last month. We just did our first sold out show in London at the Water at
Yeah.
the Dublin Castle. It's onwards and onwards. It's all good.
See, I've got some questions. I've got some questions here, and it's quite interesting. So I don't know. Well, tell us about this one. Who had the funniest moment named Arse Trembler 3000 on tour? Is that a real?
Ah, ah. So we actually have a new drummer now, but our original drummer, unfortunately, he couldn't stay with us. The various things going on. But he had a machine. So he's like me. I like my gadgets and I like, the gear, but
Yeah, yeah.
huge gear head. We all are actually, the guitars we use and all the equipment and so on. But our drummer was too. And so he pulled up at Rockfield and he pulled out this big box. I'm like, what the hell is that? And he said, sit on my drum throne, which, the little stool, and hit the bass pedal. So I did, boom. And you felt right up your ass. He has this box, and it puts basically when you hit the bass pedal, it puts the vibration up through you, so you can feel it as you're playing.
Right.
Particularly if you're on a really loud stage, yeah. So we called that the Arse Trembler 2000, and I think it got a credit on the first EP. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. I've got another one here, which is interesting because you talked about the Gallaghers, and he basically says, "What goes through your head when Noel Gallagher says, 'I bet they sound fucking great live'?"
Yeah, that was a mad one. So, Noel was doing on a podcast of a friend of his, Matt Morgan. He was reviewing other people's songs, and we were lucky enough to have 2 of our songs reviewed by him. We knew it was happening, and we all know Noel can have a bit of a tongue on him. If he doesn't like something, he'll tell people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, as huge fans, we're thinking, oh, geez, this could go terribly. So I get a ping on my phone saying the podcast is out, go and listen to it. So I'm like, oh, geez, here we go. Listen to it. And yeah, he loved both songs. And yeah. He said, I bet they'd be great effing live. And love the songs, love the songs. So, so that,
That is absolutely amazing, isn't it? To get that, yeah.
yeah, from your musical hero, yes, yeah. And I mean, we've been lucky enough now with the last EP that we did. So we recorded that in Brighton again with Nick Brine of Oasis fame. But I think that's his real name, Nick Brine of Oasis fame. That's his full name now. But we managed to get 2 of Noel's band on our latest EP as well, on our latest single rather as well, which we haven't released yet. So just that, we're pretending to be an Oasis, basically. That's all we're doing. But yeah, we're living out all these dreams. It's real fun.
Well, when I listen to your track, there's a bit of an Elvis Costello vibe going with the vocals, I think.
For which one? For Sometimes?
Yeah,
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. So Adam sings that one. So
yeah.
we've got a bit of a strange thing. So Adam sings well the majority of the songs, but because we all write, I sing a few as well. So there's one on the EP that I sing, on the last EP that I sing. The rest is Adam. Um, Elvis Costello. Oh wow, I hadn't heard that one before.
Yeah, I'm not saying he sounds
Yeah.
exactly like it, but I mean, yeah, he's just got like. Well, I'll have to cut this out when it goes out to YouTube. But it's just, I don't know. That's what I think of when I listen to it. Let's have a quick listen, people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the start.
If I could sit and daydream, picture a world of happiness.
I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but
Yeah. It's that range, I suppose. Yeah.
it's got
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
feel for it, and I might be completely out of order in saying it, but that's what I thought straight away. So there you go.
Yeah. No.
So
No. I can. Yeah.
it's either going
Yeah.
to be very pleased with that or deeply offended. I don't know, but whichever one it is, I don't really care because it's my opinion.
I'm sure he'd be pleased. I'm sure he'd be pleased. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. So what have you got? Because obviously it's great what you've done with the mental health thing and what have you, and it sounds like you up to this point you've done absolutely brilliant. So what's the plans for the rest of the year? Have you got any tours going on? Any festivals? Anything like that?
Yeah, so we're touring in October. So we've just done a bunch of festivals. We did Appfest, again with Ash. We also did Festival 2, again with Ash. We seem to be following Ash around this year for some reason.
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
There's worse bands to follow, isn't there?
Certainly is, yeah. And Embrace as well, they were there. But yeah, we've done a few festivals this year already. We're going out on tour in October, so we've got some supports with Dodgy, and
Oh,
punchy
nice.
back in the 90s. So they've signed to our label actually. So we're doing a bit of work with they've got some new stuff coming out as most of these 90s bands have now. There's this huge resurgence in 90s stuff. And our stuff is very sort of 90s Britpoppy inspired, I'd say as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's all good for us. But yeah, so we're doing a few gigs with Dodgy on their tour. We've got a tour with Chris Helm, who was in the Seahorses, which were one of my favorite bands back in the 90s. The Seahorses with John Squire after he'd left the Roses. With Chris Helm. So he's supporting us on 2 gigs in London and Cardiff. So I think there's about 6 dates altogether in October so far.
Wow.
And that could be shaping up to be a bit more of a tour, I think. Yeah.
Sounds brilliant. So what's that like? Because obviously Ash as well, another great band. So what's it like actually playing, supporting them? What's that like for you guys?
It's mad for us to see how I wouldn't say how the professionals do it because we try to be as professional as we can, but how, big touring acts do it, So last year we did a gig with Ocean Colour Scene at Festival 2 there. And just seeing, they have crew that show up throughout the day. They do all the sound checking for them. They've all got their own guitar techs. It's a dream, and they all show up and everything's ready for them. We're at the stage where we show up and we're plugging everything in ourselves. It's that awful thing at the end of a gig, right? Where you've done a gig, it's great, everybody's loving it, and you get the odd person coming up for an autograph or a picture or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you've got to bend down and unplug your pedal board and take it off stage yourself. It's how quickly the glory disappears. Yeah,
that's a shame. I never thought of it like that. But you would have expected if you're with them and you're supporting them, and that they'd get their guys to give you a hand as well. Well, that's brilliant. Brilliant. Must be mega.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome, absolutely wonderful. I'm just seeing what other questions I've got here. I've got that track in me head now. I have to play it again.
Well, that's the idea. Get it stuck in people's heads.
It's in my head. I'm gonna have to play it again after the show. It's sometimes. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a cracking track. It's an absolutely cracking track.
Yeah.
What was he saying? Songbird HQ reviews always you praised its emotional impact, calling chorus a satisfying earworm. I've just said that, and that's what it is.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Well, I normally ask when there's a load of you in the band, but there's only one of you. But I'll still ask you, if there was a zombie apocalypse, which band member would die first? I'll have that question.
Oh, geez. A zombie apocalypse. Which band member would die first? It's going to be me, right? Because when we all stand together in line, Adam's about 3 foot taller than me, so he's got a long stride. He's gone.
Yeah,
he's gone. He's gone for no one. The bass player, I mean, you got to see where we turn up at a gig. He turns up with a guitar and a lead. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
They set up in seconds. And our drummer, he keeps our average age down a bit. He's a little bit younger, so he'd be off as well. So they're feasting on my bloated body, I'm sure. Yeah.
I love that question. It's really good because normally when there's a few band members together, they all say the same person virtually instantly.
Really?
Yeah. It's the maddest question that got asked one week by Lele Records. Janice is saying, apart from Oasis, who else are the band's influences? So obviously they're a massive influence for you guys. Obviously.
They are. Now, I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't just say Oasis. I'd say that's whole sort of 90s vibe because, music in the 90s, it was a cultural thing, really. It wasn't just the music, it was the way people dressed.
Yeah.
People had a bit of a swagger about them. And when you're sort of 18, 19, sort of, impressed by that, And I always believe that the music you're into when you're sort of those formative years, 18, 19, 20, I think the music you're into then, I think that's the music that sort of stays with you, So yeah, music around that time, I was a big Stone Roses fan and, going into Oasis. And then all the stuff that was my record collection, most of that stuff was recorded at Rockfield, so people like Ash and people like Ocean Colour Scene and Cast and all these bands.
Awesome.
So the Charlatans to then go on and record at Rockfield and look behind the glass and see Nick there who'd worked with all these artists. It was a real sort of pinch yourself moment. But I think, that's the kind of music that got me going. What got me into guitar was, bit younger than that. The Sex Pistols. I like a bit more sort of punkier kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and Bert, who's our bass player, he likes stuff like New Order and stuff like that, which is based around bass lines, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Adam, he's into more sort of Beatley stuff and more 60s stuff. So yeah, we're all into the same sort of stuff, but we've all got our sort of individual branches off that, I suppose. And when it comes to songwriting, we all bring in our own sort of influences that way.
Yeah, I think it works that, doesn't it? Because if in any relationship, whatever it is, if you all like exactly the same things, then it can be a bit boring, can't it? Because you're just going to produce the same thing. But I think when you've got a bit of an eclectic mix of musical tastes and ideas, then you can bounce them off, can't you? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like adding an orchestra to something. If you wasn't into that kind of music, you wouldn't do it, would you? And it's
exactly, yeah. And to me, that's a nod to the sort of the manic stuff that they were doing in the 90s. Everything must go and designed for life. Bringing an orchestra on top of a big rock tune, it just makes it huge.
It does work, doesn't it? It's mad. You would never expect it in rock music.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
It does work. Lele Records always likes to ask this question. We ask all the very important questions here. He says, who wears the best socks?
Best socks? Oh, geez. Best socks.
You don't get this on the BBC, do you?
We've got a bit of a thing. So we tried to have a bit of a look on stage. So, for example, I'm always dressed in black. Nobody gets to see my socks. And if they were, they'd be black. Quite boring. When we're in the studio, we sort of, I suppose, dress down a bit. And I'd say Bert, our bass player, he's one of those socks right up to the kneecaps,
right, okay.
Which is quite a modern look these days,
Is it?
So yeah, I'd say Bert's socks are probably the socks to go for. Yeah.
Oh, now we need to see Bert's socks on social media, don't we? So we'll. One of the other questions I like to ask and throw in a lot of the time: disasters on stage, you've obviously mentioned that one with the tuned-in guitar, which is
had a couple. So that's one that I'll never forget. The big moment, the big clang of just badly out of tune. The first year we played Festival 2, which was it's 2 years ago now. Thunderstorm. So it was 2 years ago when was it World Cup or the Euros? I think it would have been the World Cup. We were playing. England went into penalties as we come on stage. So we played in the big square in Kings Lynn, surrounded by pubs. So everybody's in the pubs watching the penalties. The minute the penalty stopped, everybody rushes out. So we got really busy. Thunderstorm started, and we were on a big sort of festival stage, And the way these festival stages work, they have a temporary roof, which is basically cloth or that kind of stuff. And for whatever reason, the water had piled up in it, and the water came crushed, gallons and gallons of water straight onto my pedal board.
No.
In the middle of the gig. There's people on, putting towels over everything. Thankfully, everything stayed on and we managed to get through the gig. But yeah, it was literally panic stations thinking, I'm going to get electrocuted and die.
And I thought never mind.
Or the whole power is going to go out. So that was another one. We've had plenty of sort of minor stuff, strings breaking and, equipment not working. But, you just carry on, And the majority of the time, the audience won't know those kind of things,
Yeah, it's also I was trying to think of something before because obviously you've come back into it from when you was younger, 16, what have you, and it's probably the right reason because you're all more mature and you've come to the. Do you think that's been a benefit for you those years, stopping and coming back into it older?
Yeah, I think we all wish that we were doing that. We were in our 20s now, obviously, we definitely come. Approach things probably in a much more mature way now. We've all four of us are, musical. We're all songwriters. So when we come together, getting something to work, it's a discussion, and we all have our parts to play. Which why I'm really proud of the first two EPs that we've done, four tunes on each, and they're very different in style. When you mentioned about us having different influences, for the first EP, there's punk on there's a ballad, and again for the second EP with sometimes being the lead track, big orchestral thing. There's Stuck in the Riverbed, again massive guitars, huge massive anthemic chorus. There's Always You, which is a tender sort of ballad again. and then I Can See You, which starts with, with like dance music almost, with like almost like a dance beat on a drum machine. So I think the fact that we're a bit more mature, we can sort of bring in those influences and not think we need to go down a particular path. Where I think, if we were younger, we probably would be, we'd probably keep doing that same thing over and over again.
Excellent, excellent. So you said you're in France. Whereabouts in France are you?
I'm currently in Wales, but I live in France. We're over here for the summer holidays with the kids. But because I'm Welsh, because I am Welsh. But we live in the Dordogne, so right in the middle of France. If you were to put a pin in the middle, but it's 43 degrees there today.
I know, and I love France. Was in Bordeaux was it last year? And I absolutely
right, yeah. We're about 90 minutes from Bordeaux.
I love Bordeaux. Absolutely loved them. Been all around there, the Dordogne. I've been to France quite a few times. It's one of the places that I really like in the world that you go, I could live here because it's a different pace of life and everything, isn't it? So it
is, and for us it's easy. We can get on a plane. Most of our gigs are sort of London based anyway, so I can get on a plane any day of the week and get there for the gig.
Probably
spend a night in London.
Probably cheaper for you to fly from there than it is for someone to come from Manchester down into whatever. It's like ridiculous.
Cheaper than getting a train from Cardiff to London. It's cheaper for me to fly in, do the gig, and fly back out. Yeah.
But Wales is one of the places me and my wife are thinking of moving to in another couple of years. That's
really God's country. Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't speak any Welsh, but I'll see how we get on.
Yeah. Neither can I. You don't need to worry.
Excellent. Is there anything I've not asked you that you wanted to get out there, promote, talk about? Because I'm quite conscious.
I don't think so. I mean, we've got a bunch of tracks that we've already recorded. So we're thinking whether these be an album or we continue with singles.
Nice.
Not quite sure what we're doing yet. So the best thing to do is go to the 355's.com, and you can join our newsletter. Any news we have, we'll put out on that newsletter. Obviously, we're the 355's on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. And we've got out this tour coming up in October. So Cardiff, London, Ipswich, Lincoln. Can't think of where else. They're all on the website. So head on over to the 355's.com.
Awesome. Wait, I didn't ask you the start off thing. Where does the name come from, the 355's?
The 355's is a type of guitar.
Okay.
So both myself and Adam are sort of guitar nerds, basically. And it's that sort of semi-acoustic that a lot of the Britpop bands used back in the day.
Right.
And the 355. So we both use 355. So that's a good name. Let's go with that. Yeah.
You can tell how much I know about guitars, but it's a cracking name though, and I like the reference as well. I think that's absolutely brilliant.
Lovely. Yeah. I think it sort of describes our sort of style of music as well. We're very sort of Britpop influenced. And all those Britpop bands, they all use semi-acoustics,
Yeah, well, I'm going to be doing quite a lot of road miles tomorrow because I test ride motorcycles. So I think I'm going to be listening to both your all your releases. I think I'll give them a good go tomorrow and pick
Lovely.
them all
Lovely. But let me know your favourites.
I will do. Maybe sometimes at the minute. But before you go, can you do us an artist drop? Because we like to put them on the things. So can you say this is the 355's and you're listening to Dougie Stone Radio?
This is the 355's, and you're listening to Dougie Stone Radio.
That's absolutely perfect. Well, do you know what?
That was a good radio voice, wasn't it?
That was.
And you are listening to Dougie Stone Radio.
I'm going to use that one as well. Yeah. So I've been collecting them over the last how many shows we've been doing. I've got loads of them. I've got a load. I've got about 15 on here now, but I've got about 100 of them that I need to put onto the system. And, the aim is for one day when these bands, because some of the bands we've interviewed have started to progress, when they make it, I've got their jingle. So it's all So when
amazing.
When someone's supporting you in a bit, then I'll have your jingle, so it'll be all right.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I think I wouldn't necessarily say yes, but I think the world is ripe for a new guitar band again. Guitar bands come in these waves and stuff, and I think now, particularly, with the huge Oasis tour, seeing the amount of kids that are there and stuff that are getting into music again, it just feels as if guitar music is certainly on the incline again.
We hope so, and because that's what this show's about. Because unfortunately, the larger side of the industry is focused on these. I'm not going to say manufacturers, but normally just one artist, and it's just all very, very similar, and it's very difficult. This industry, even some of the other genres that are out there. There's some amazing, talented people, isn't it? Reggae, rock, everything. But we're dominated by what they want to prescribe to us. It's a bit sad, so we just need to keep. But I think you're right. On the back of the Oasis reunion, their gigs, there's going to be a lot of people going to those gigs that first time. They're going to be younger people. I saw them twice when they were going, and first time. So there's a lot of people gone to those gigs that weren't aware of the Britpop and wasn't around then, and the feeling of that. Because right, what you said earlier on. It wasn't just the music, is there? It was like an identity. It was everything in between, and I'm from Manchester, so. My allegiance ended up going to Oasis, not Blur, and there was all stuff. It's fantastic, and we want more of it. So
definitely. I mean, you mentioned Blur. I mean, they did their biggest show just a couple of years ago. They sold out Wembley, which they couldn't have done back in the 90s. And now you've got Pulp releasing an amazing album, and Cass just releasing an album, and all these bands again. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Brilliant. Well, I could sit and talk to you for hours. Say hello to the rest of the guys. And,
certainly will do. Yeah.
Love the track. And if you're doing anything or you want to promote anything, speak to Janet if you want to come on again. It's not a one hit thing this week. We're happy to have people on for return visits or whatever. But let us know what you're doing. Keep in touch, and we wish you all the success with what you're doing going forward.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
cheers. Man. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely brilliant. Love it. Right. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me get this up. Where are we? Give us a second, people. You'll only have me on screen in a second. Oh, there. I am on screen. He's gone. Wasn't he great? I love that track. It is in my head now. I'm going to have to play that later on. We'll carry on, and we'll carry on with the show. What have we got next? We've had Doc City was the band that everyone seemed to like before. We've got Rivia and Piece of You.